The MarbleLympics began a couple of weeks ago rather inauspiciously with an event that I believe mimicked the purpose of the MarbleLympics in itself, balancing the fine line, finding it between success and failure, working together as a team. And Rojo Rollers did a fine job at that. This run, worthy of a gold medal, our first completion that we had of that round, and a new MarbleLympics record that could not be surpassed. Mellow Yellow and Team Momo got closest overall. As we move to the relay race, controversy was in the air. Perhaps a bit of growing pains from an inaugural event, as is expected. A defect in the top lane forced race organizers to give consolation points at the end, and thus we had a shared bronze medal between Snowballs and Thunderbolts. That is where we had a little bit of controversy. The hit there, because of the way that the track's geometry was, stopped the marble on the second leg and was not able to allow them to keep going. So rather than run the event again altogether, early on they decided to give 2 bronze medals, but up front it was all gold for the Savage Speeders, appropriately named, and our eventual MarbleLympics champions. Following their half-second victory, we moved on to the next event in the MarbleLympics, less about speed and precision and more about brute force, the collision event. Marbles side by side, coming down a ramp, hitting each other, trying to stay in the squared area, inside of the boundaries, while knocking the other marbles out. Jawbreakers and Team Primary coming back behind. Team Primary got a bronze in that event, one of just 2 medals that they ended up having for the entire rest of the games. Going back to the roots in round 4 saw the marbles take to a sand course. One representative from each of the teams streamed their way down this narrow and very fast course, a hard challenge, but it was Rojo Rollers out in front toward the bottom of the course, getting a massive amount of pressure from Team Mellow Yellow. And with the finish line in sight, a move that would have championship implications right there. Mellow Yellow darting around before the final chicane and into the finish line, earning them the gold medal in front of Rojo Rollers and Team Galactic. Team Galactic barely pipped at the end across that line in front of Candy from the Jawbreakers. Galactic would only earn that bronze medal, a packed house, then moved inside to watch the long jump. A lot of marbles doing a very good job, and we also brought slow motion. Bolta from the Thunderbolts, somebody that you may remember from later events as well, doing a fine job for his team, breaking the MarbleLympics record. Then the aquatic race, a fan favorite through this narrow channel with swirling currents, darting marbles back and forth all over the place, a lot of debris along the way. And this ended up being a hotly contested event with 2 waterfalls. It caught out some marbles. Some were not able to keep going. Some took so long to get going that it basically eliminated them from contention. But as we came down to the end, it was Savage Speeders and it was Cobalts racing for a while, if you will, that this team won. They had not won any other medals except for gold at that point, this one coming courtesy of Velocity by a good 2.5 seconds over the Cobalts and Mellow Yellow. Another attempt at a record was seen in the 7th event of the MarbleLympics, the high jump, one that caught out a lot of marbles based on their technique. Most of the competition had been eliminated. Rojo Dos coming over and getting the gold medal, attempted but did not set the MarbleLympics record in front of Cobalts and Mellow Yellow, but they'll still be quite happy about that. Team Primary and Team Momo in the high jump, as we go to the 10-meter sprint, a supremely fast event, one that many wondered if the Savage Speeders would again be a part of at the end. And sure enough, they were. Chaoticin coming out the victor there by just 0.04 of a second, a trend that we saw in many different races and events throughout the MarbleLympics. But in the final race, the O'Rangers, Balls of Chaos, Savage Speeders, and Chocolatiers were no match for the savage speed of the appropriately named gold medal winning team, a new MarbleLympics record breaking the 5-second barrier. That trend would continue in the team pursuit, where Savage Speeders again came up with a goose egg in this event, but it was a very hotly contested event in many of the races. In this one, not so much, nearly lapping the competition, and this was another one where the team pursuit all funneled down into Oceanics, Balls of Chaos, and then Thunderbolts and O'Rangers in the bronze medal match. And we look at Oceanics and Balls of Chaos. This event would actually be one of the strongest events for the Oceanics from start to finish. Unlike what many thought we would see in the water event from them, Instead, they found the velodrome, their home, picking up their only gold medal of the MarbleLympics and one of only 2 medals overall. But it was a good way to close out in the final stretches of this event. Another unique event saw us go to precision slalom, using the colored board at the bottom to decide what points marbles would get depending on how close they got to that center pit without going in. If you're in the blue, or the green, or the yellow, you've done well. Any bit farther out, you get many fewer points. There you see an example of the scoring system here. Another tournament coming down to Momo versus Cobalts this time. Back in the championship round, though, Cobalts versus Team Momo bounded their way down, back and forth through the slalom. One pipped into the middle, and that is worth 0 points, and that would end up being a strong difference between the winners and the silver medalists, this time with the gold going to Team Momo. Silver was earned by Cobalts in front of Pinky's bronze. Controversy again swirled in the diving event, redone because of judging inconsistencies and a whirl of controversy. They decided, let's give it a different scoring system, but the results were just as spectacular. An event again done as a team, judged both on synchronicity and how well they entered the water, how well they stayed in the water, and then also where they ended up on that colored grid, as you see there to the left. Quartet diving, that ended up being our gold medal dive. Mellow Yellow picking up the gold. Some got it more right than others. Not only did you see a strike on the front of the basin there, but you also saw one marble careen far off, nearly into the stands. Over the span of many of these races, we did have one disqualification as well, but it was the grand final. Grand because this would decide the entire MarbleLympics. Thunderbolts in lane 2 got off to a very slow start and were unable to capitalize. Mellow Yellow winning the event, we thought, until video analysis proved otherwise. It was speed from the Savage Speeders, pipping Mellow Yellow at the end. Thunderbolts managing third, but that was enough to shake things up in the MarbleLympics standings. Congratulations to our MarbleLympics champions, the Savage Speeders.